Hello there everyone, welcome back. I am JayCaulls. This is Andretti Motorsport Manager series with using the Fire Manager 22 mod. We are taking control of Andretti Autosports in Formula 2 and we start off today with a quick vote. The vote will be for very high merit payments. Now this is basically the payments you get at the start of the season, and the higher the team, the bigger the payments. Obviously we're struggling at the moment, so we don't really want this to go through. However, we are going to abstain and hope that this somehow goes our way. So we let all the votes go in now. As you saw to begin with, there was a lot more people who wanted it rather than those who didn't. Those who are against have hopefully abstained themselves, and we can hopefully get, there we go, getting a few of them putting more than one vote in. So that was a close one. 7 votes to 4, and the payments will stay the same. Good start to the video. This could be a good episode. Now, due to the amount of money we're putting towards the engines, getting spare ones ready for the rest of the season, did get a little bit of a warning from Michael. Just stop spending the money. Stop it. Stop it. Now onto the racing business. We are at Milan for the first race of this episode. This is a 3-race episode special with one more episode left of the season. So I thought we'd try and cram in 3 races. With how we've set up the videos, we can sort of afford to put more races in and still keep them relatively shorter than what we did with the Haas. So we are as upgraded as we're going to get. All the parts that have a decent amount of reliability are on. Time to go to Italy, and fingers crossed we can start getting some points on the board. The tactic is just the same as before when it comes to the qualifying. Some very quick laps in to begin with, just in case there's a change with the weather a little later on in the session, even though it's not forecasted, we can see so far. But it's good to get that quick lap in now while we can. Once again, Kirkwood just really struggling with the qualifying at the moment as we join onto the last attempt at getting a good lap in. Colton Herta getting up into the top 10. With that crash at the last sector, may have affected the qualifying times of Kirkwood. He could have potentially got higher than 23rd, but with the crash into the wall just there from the other drivers, we have to make do once again with Kirkwood's display. There were still a few extra cars waiting to finish their laps. Unfortunately for Colton Herta, he'll start in 12th. So much for that top 10, eh? For the race, we came across a very interesting decision for our tactics. The race being 33 laps, we could have, with Herta, kept to the soft tyres. They would have lasted the whole race, no pit stops needed. However, when we started mid-pack, we're going to take the gamble with Herta. Try and see with the quicker compound if he can get through. Kirkwood, we're just keeping him on one single compound. As long as nothing wrong goes on in the race, then we can hope that Kirkwood can get a decent position without taking a stop, and Herta can climb up the pack high enough to get a pit stop in and potentially keep up his pace. A quick readjust is needed to get all the strategies onto reds and see if we can start getting some positions up and get ourselves a decent start for Kirkwood, making a good few places. But Colton Herta, for some reason, just really struggling with that. We are, however, going to use team orders and allow Herta to get back in front of Kirkwood. We'll keep those orders on, with Kirkwood going to be on a softer compound, Herta onto the softer softs. Hopefully use that to our advantage, and anyone who gets behind Kirkwood, he can hopefully block him off. However, as usual this series, we we still cannot catch that break. Herta doing well, about to climb into that top 10, and then disaster strikes. Not just one part of the car damaged, but two, both the front wing and the suspension. We're gonna have to get him in for that, and that could potentially be our entire race ruined. So we're gonna get both those parts repaired. And in terms of tyres, we thought about it, we added it up in our heads, and we decided in the end that we were just going to switch over to the softs and just not make the pit stop now and not have to make a single one for the rest of the race. I had to cut quite a bit of the race down just because Colton came out in 24th, Kirkwood's just sort of like trudging along, and a little bit of controversy there, as I'm absolutely certain that Kirkwood got pushed straight into the wall. Unfortunately, this doesn't bring out the safety car. Safety car right now would have been absolutely perfect. We would have put Colton in for a softer compound and perhaps tried to push our way through, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be, and Herta ends up in a very sorry, still in top 20, but it's the race was a disaster. It just, nothing went to plan whatsoever. Championship wise, Herta stays where he is, just in the top 10. Kirkwood still clinging on to those 4 points. Andretti 1 place behind where we need to be, but as we found out after this race, this was the least of our problems, especially when it came to Kirkwood. Confused as to why he had lost so much on his cornering and the fitness. We thought it was a glitch, we thought it was a bug. No, turns out after that crash, that malicious taking out, I'm calling it what it is, guys, sorry, a malicious taking out a cracked rib is our reward for that. So not only is Kyle Kirkwood down on form, but he's also down on his luck and down on the connectivity of his rib cage. Michael's not happy with us. Happiness down, marketability down, and I don't even want to know if anything bad's going to happen next. But of course, both drivers still looking at listening to other offers with the morale so low. And an interview, let's do an interview with Eurosport. Wow. Kyle really throwing the team under the bus at the moment when it comes to... I mean, I know our parts aren't the best, but he can shut up. And I promise it's not because of spite. We're doing it because Daniel will legit be better than Kyle Kirkwood at the moment. We are going to promote Danial Frost up to main driver, just while Kyle Kirkwood gets his body back into tip-top condition. And he may be upset about it, but I'm pretty sure Kirkwood will go over it pretty quick. He got over it so quick, Kirkwood decided to sign for somebody else. Bugger. But there's a silver lining. They've just signed an injured driver. Our monthly or our racely cost will be a little bit less. You know, the problem is, do we attempt to get a replacement in? I mean, the compo money is good, but at the end of the day, Kirkwood had the ability to get us points in extraordinary circumstances. With our reserve driver, we'll have to see. No pressure. No pressure, he says. Rio de Janeiro is on the menu next. Had a quick look through the cars, and as much as I want to get upgrades right now, I think we're going to wait till after this race, and then we can solely focus on the weaker parts of the car. But let's just try and get through this, and let's try and get something. Now, something I wasn't taking into account when we started this is exactly how far off the pace Frost was going to be. Add to that extremely low form. I think it actually hit 0 at some point as well. We realised at this point there was a even bigger, even taller hill to climb than we previously thought. If it wasn't for the crash, Frost would be dead last. Fingers crossed in the race, it doesn't quite turn out like that either. I'm fully within my beliefs that Frost can net us, or just personally he can net himself a top 20. We'll be going fairly simple on the strategies. Keep Frost on the harder compound. Herta can have the quicker, and we'll just sort of play it by ear, play it from there, and hope that Colton can get us at least a small handful of points. Please? As the race started, we knew straight away something was not going to go our way, and we discovered pretty quickly that with how packed up all the cars were in front of us, it might be an idea to actually just lay off the pushing. Herta dropping down to 20th after the first lap, we decided to try something a little bit different. And now once the cars had spread out a bit, we can then start to get some pushing in, hopefully by lap 4. By the start of lap 5, Colton managed to get himself up to 16th place with a perfect 10 in form, which is only going to do him good for this race, hopefully, fingers crossed. Frost still low on form, but at least it's gone up a tad to 2.2. He finds himself currently in 21st. Still believe Frost can get a pretty decent finish and get himself used to the car, boost his form up sooner rather than later. As we go on to lap 9, Colton Herta gets himself up to 11th, but there's a very familiar name right in front of us in 8th place. Kirkwood and his new team, he's doing alright. I'm surprised he hasn't got a nosebleed being up in the top 10. First and 11th, and Kirkwood slowly dropping down. Okay, maybe I'm being a bit spiteful and stuff like that, but I really hope we give him a kick in. When Herta gets close enough, we'll look at pushing real hard. But of course, it wouldn't be one of my Andretti videos if suddenly something didn't go disastrously wrong. I don't know how, but somehow Colton's tyres just literally, at the click of a finger, just went straight to 0. 0%. No explanation at the time unless it was some sort of contact, but this could potentially ruin another race. This is like 4 races in a row where we've been screwed over, and once again luck has decided it is not going to be on our side. A swap of tyres is in order, and we've just got to hope that things go our way. Just something has to go our way. And so, things went our way. A safety car? I don't mind if we do. Let's get everyone bunched up back together and let's push for that top 10. So with Frost in for tyres, Colton out, tyres regulated, it's time to push, it's time to go. Frost losing quite a few places with the faster cars behind him, but Herta going off in a storm, and he begins his charge towards that top 10. Nothing will go wrong now. You're kidding me. This game hates me. This game actually hates me. Business as usual it is then. Missing out on points. But hey, at least Frost can finish this race with a good decent amount of form. Herta in 13th, Frost in 14th. Just without that pit stop there, that was a absolute cert of a top 10 for Herta. Absolutely gutted. Again. Colton dropping down 2 places, and Andretti Autosport now 9th. At least we're getting more money per race, but we're now 2 places below where the chairman wants us. In order to get where we want to be, we begrudgingly have to invest. Our 2 weakest areas are the engine and the front wing. They are legit the worst on the whole grid. Unfortunately, engines cost quite a bit, so do front wings, but not as much. So with front wings being a pivotal focus on the upcoming tracks, we are going to get 2 new ones built. Might not be ready for the next race, but if we can at least get the reliability up for next episode, then yeah, that's what we'll aim for. We won't put any unnecessary costs on if we can help it, but we'll make sure they are definitely better than what we already have. The time has come where we finally need to make our voices heard. A 60 mph pit lane speed limit will ruin us. We've been taking a few less pit stops. If we make the speed limit a bit quicker for those who take multiple ones, or pretty quick in general, then we're just gonna get left behind. We will, once again, more begrudging. We'll begrudgingly spend 2 of our votes. We just need to win. This could be a close one, especially when some of the teams which have been saying they're not gonna have a vote then start voting. Let's see how this turns out. That was close. So close. More dilemmas just before the final race of the episode, but luckily this is a decent one. I think it's probably safe to say that we go for the chairman's happiness, make our jobs a little bit more secure, plus any excuse to get the chairman's happiness up, especially while we find ourselves in the current points position we are in. After this race, we have 3 left to finally keep our jobs in Andretti Autosport. We're going to be finding that suspension is going to be key, a little bit front wing as well, and this is going to be a close one. We must grab a couple of points here just to keep our feet in the water. It's now or never. Now or never. And as now or never, we can afford to take a few gambles here and there. We're going to use this new super overtake mode. Now, Colton Herta has got this super overtake mode with having a decent relationship with his mechanic / engineer, and the higher you get those chemistries, the more little tricks you can apply to certain sessions. With the super overtake, it just means that we're going to be using a lot more power with the engine during the race. With how brittle our parts are at the moment, I really do not want to be breaking the car. It's expensive, we don't have the funds, but for qualifying we can push, and if this super overtake is the difference between us getting a decent starting position and getting points or getting fired, then I'm willing to take that qualifying risk. Let's see how it goes. This might actually pay off. I mean, it's not quite as high as I thought Herta was going to get, but it's a start, and if we can get some top 10 starts from this, we'll carry on with it. We'll go for one more run and see what comes out at the end of it. Frost ended up having a terrible qualifying session, but we joined Colton Herta. This is the final lap, the final chance to get into that top 10, and oh my god, I'm just checking to see how many more people were left, and that's it. Wow, we actually get bonus points for that as well. We get 2 points. So Colton Herta, before the race has even started, has just grabbed us 2 points. That's amazing. That's incredible. So just like I said in qualifying, we are not going to be using the super overtake trait during the race. Like I said, it's just I don't really want to be paying for any more repairs than I need to be paying for. Plus we've got race trim and a softer tyre bonus anyway, so we might as well use those. I'm not expecting a massively great start from Colton. We're going to be getting some real aggressive people from the get-go, but we'll give it a shot anyway, and hopefully we can finally start getting some points on the board. As expected, Colton Herta going down a couple of places. He is holding his own slightly though. We're going to be calming down on a few of the tyre and engine settings just to save those. You can see how much he's having to push the car. The car is the weakest on the grid. We are going to be dropping off quite a few places as expected. We are hoping the main tactic for this race is going to be for Frost to get in front of a load of people on the harder compound. You should hopefully, once people start pitting, be in front of a decent crowd. We're going to slow him down completely and get himself... Oh, look who it is all the way at the back. There we go. Back where he deserves to be. Oh, and that was a nice overtake on Frost just there, I will admit that. But Frost will be a blocker, hopefully holding people up so Colton Herta can have a little less traffic going his way, and fingers crossed we can get that top 10, get a few extra bonus points, and just make things a little bit easier for us. About a quarter of the way through the race, Frost is starting to pick up a little bit of pace. Anyone who's getting any drive-through penalties is going to slowly get held up. Herta battling around for that 10th place. A lot of the people around him are on the softer tyre compound, which is good because it means that they will eventually pit, and it's just a case of we just have to manage what Herta is outputting on the car, try and last a little bit longer out on the track, and when it's time to pit or the tyres degrade a little bit too much, we'll make a decision whether to keep on the purples or if we switch to the reds. We managed Frost well up into 12th, holding plenty of people up, just changing the driving style and the engine modes as the laps have gone by. Herta just doing his own thing. Up in 16th, we decided to change Herta to the slightly harder compound, and what we might do with Frost is do the complete opposite. We might switch him from the reds to the slightly softer ultra softs. We had a look at how many laps were left on each tyre, and Frost not doing a great job just there in keeping people back, but when it came to 17 laps remaining, we took the gamble. We're going to go over to ultra softs. This will give Frost a little bit more pace. He's currently running a 9.7 form, which is fantastic. Like, not high expectations, even being as high as 14th, 13th, 12th has done absolute wonders for him. Hopefully he can come out in a decent place, and should any emergencies happen and Colton Herta ends up behind Frost again, then we can adapt and push towards that decent position. It is the final 10, 9 laps even, and the race is finally on. Herta in a nice group. Just say I've got 1 or 2 people pitting by, and Herta goes up to 10th, 9th even, and we are finally back in the points for Colton Herta. Frost is up in 18th. Frost is just going to chill there for a bit now. If anybody else starts going out, as we see that 8th place in front of us is getting ready to box in and give us another position, have got some slightly faster people behind, but another one about to be going in. Could be a few extra positions for Frost, but Herta now with 9th and 10th pretty close behind. A few bits of trouble on the engine, but can Herta hold it to the end and get us some extremely important points with 7 laps remaining? This is fantastic. 2 laps left. Colton Herta is in 7th place. Has a nice 3.5 second gap behind him. 6.5 seconds in front is 6th place, so we're not going to push it on this final lap. We decided to put Herta on a slightly more lax strategy until we found out that 8th place cut down 2 seconds in pretty much half a lap. It's going to be a close one. And whoever that is behind is absolutely zooming. We're going to gamble here, high strategy, and Colton Herta gets 7th place. What a drive. What a drive. Frost doing his job admirably. Started 16th for himself. And finally, unfortunately, the final positions haven't completely gone our way. There's been a few of the lower teams around us grabbing a couple of points as well, but main thing is we've managed to grab some. We can hopefully keep this momentum going. If we keep grabbing little bits and pieces of points over the last three races, I have full confidence we can do it. We can keep our jobs. It really is a testament to just how good Colton Herta is on this mod. Brilliant stats just there for Formula 2. He alone has pretty much carried us through the season, grabbing us points. Decent form for both drivers as we go into the last 3 races of the season. Chairman's a little bit happier with how we finished just there. Will it be enough for us to keep our jobs? Well, we'll have to see. I'm not looking at investing any more into the car if I can help it. Once we've got the front wings on, that should do us for the rest of the season. However, if we are to get those points with the money that we have left over here, we may have to get another driver in. Who's it going to be? Well, I'm thinking big. You'll have to find out next episode who we exactly have in mind. Until then, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you like the episode, subscribe to the channel, check out the rest of the episodes if you haven't already checked them out, as well as all the rest of the iRacing and other games which are on the channel. There's a few links underneath in the description of Twitter, Discord, Twitch, all that sort of stuff. And yes, I'll leave you to it. Thank you so much for watching. See you over the next 3 races on the final episode. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other.